Welcome back. Many Americans are finding out that their new car is collecting way more information than they thought. National consumer investigator Rachel DePompa found out what's being tracked, plus why and how it's being used, and the calls for lawmakers to act continue to grow.
Traveling through his favorite corners of Ann Arbor, Michigan, Ryan Bates discovered his new electric vehicle wasn't just getting him here or there.
I can see here when they started spying on me on page 33.
He'd seen a couple of news reports that his 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV could be collecting information about him. So he reached out to a company that collects data, LexisNexis.
This is what LexisNexis sends you. It's page after page after page of my day-to-day activities. That's not for sale.
This is just one page Bates shared with us of his 200-page report. It shows in December of 2023, for example, he accelerated and had a hard break.
Was I braking hard because a kid ran into the street? Or was I braking hard because I'm a bad driver? Have they given it to my insurance company? I don't know. There's no way to know.
He found out the tracking started the day he bought the car, when he received a free OnStar subscription from Chevy's parent company, General Motors. That's an in-vehicle safety, security, and navigational system.
Do I own the car, or does the car own me?
He's not the only consumer signaling a problem.
The Texas Attorney General is now suing General Motors and OnStar, saying the companies have unlawfully collected, used, and sold the driving data of more than 1.8 million Texans. And there are multiple class action lawsuits filed. All of these lawsuits claim insurance premiums for consumers shot up after erroneous and negative driving information was illegally supplied to insurance carriers. So far, GM and OnStar have denied all the claims, and GM announced in April of 2024 it severed ties with LexisNexis.
Newer cars are now smartphones on wheels. There are sensors, cameras, and GPS collecting data. It's called telematics, and it's essentially the way your vehicle now communicates with the outside world, allowing your vehicle to store and transmit data in real time.
When you talk about it from a privacy perspective, telematics are a scary thing for consumers, but when you talk about it from a safety perspective, it's critical.
Michael Brooks is the executive director for the Center for Auto Safety. He says the information, if anonymous, is a game changer for safety because it can monitor speed, acceleration, and braking, which are critical as manufacturers develop more self-driving features. Though, he says, that information, out of context, doesn't drive home the full picture.
Unfortunately, right now in America, there's very little law around who controls that data.
Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon just filed the Car Privacy Rights Act for 2024. He wants to ban car manufacturers from sharing or selling any data collected from a vehicle and require all car manufacturers to allow consumers to easily opt out of data collection.
The solution here isn't buy a different car. The solution is we need laws to stop this.